Hey everybody, Kevin Wilson. I'm the communications manager for Davidson's and Gallery of Guns, and we're here today to talk about a brand new pistol, brand new company that was launched this year. This is the Rost Martin, and these pistols, I think, are going to surprise you a little bit when you learn about them. There's three models out right now. We have solid black, and this one has the extended magazine. So these guns have 15 round and 17 round magazines. There's a gray finish as well as a flat dark earth with black slide. Good looking guns. And as you saw in the video, we did out at Gunsite Academy, very well shooting guns. I was personally surprised because this is a lot of gun for the money, and we'll get into that a little bit during this video. But we invited Chris and Eric from Rost Martin, and I'll let them explain their roles and how all this came together. But let's bring on our guest right now. Afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir. I know you guys are busy, and I appreciate you taking the time for both our dealers and our customers at Gallery of Guns to go over these guns. Before we get started on the actual pistols themselves, I wanted to give you guys a chance to kind of explain your backgrounds, what you're doing with this company, how this all came about. Chris, if you don't mind, I'll start with you. Just kind of give us a little bio and how this thing got started.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for having us. Yeah, my name's Chris Toomer. I founded the company with my wife in 2020. We both have over a decade of time in the firearms industry. A little bit about myself: I served as an infantry officer in the Marine Corps for 5 years. After that, went to business school and then jumped into the firearms industry shortly after that. Really, kind of the genesis of this company started with we were looking at the industry and looking at kind of the different product offerings, and we've just had such a reverence for all the different companies that have come before us and formed the 2A to what it has been today. And so what we wanted to do is kind of create our own lane, create something that we could be proud of to kind of further the Second Amendment to the next generation of gun owners as well. And so we set about of like trying to think of is that advocacy, do we start an accessories company? And so after a lot of research, after some time spent of trying to figure out where we fit in, we decided to come out with this gun. And so after about 4.5 years of engineering and kind of trying to position ourselves, we were fortunate enough to have a successful launch at SHOT Show 2024, and it's been a great first 8 months on the market. So a lot of people have been able to get the gun in their hands, shoot it, got a great ton of positive feedback. And really kind of what we hear the most of is that we don't start with what the price of the gun is. We let people shoot it, we let people feel it, kind of see all the features that are incorporated in it, and then after that they say, how much is this gun? And then we kind of tell them that it's a $459 MSRP, and it always surprises them. So we've really just kind of tried to create a gun, tons of features, an American-made pistol that we can be proud of, that you can shoot out of the box and run as long as you want.
Well, and that is one thing that surprised me is that retail price, especially considering all the features that come in this gun. And we'll get into that in a little detail. You may have noticed in the Gunsite video that Eric was doing all the shooting, and there's a pretty good reason for that, but I'll let him explain a little bit about your background, Eric, if you don't mind, and how you got involved with Rost Martin.
Yeah, of course. Let's see, I was in the military as well. I was in the SEAL teams and medically retired after not quite 12 years. Just had some injuries from various things, combat and just general overuse. Anyway, since leaving the military, I've been in a couple of different industries, and including firearms, obviously. I've owned a gun range, I've ran a gun range, I've done firearms, training classes, teaching, concealed carry or teaching SWAT teams, just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, even ran. I was the director of education and training for the NRA for a little while. So a lot of, I guess, a lot of experience both in and out of the military with firearms. Not so much on design, but more just shooting and teaching. And now I'm fortunate enough to be working with Chris and Steph at Rost Martin, and just kind of helping out where I can. It's a great gun, and they're great people, and it's just it's really fun to be a part of.
Well, let me ask you this, Chris, right off the bat. Being a new company, now you have gotten some really good press. I've seen a bunch of reviews. Obviously, we've handled these guns, and Davidson's and Gallery of Guns jumped on board really early, picked these up. But let's, answer some questions. Where are these guns made?
So we make them here in Dallas, Texas. So we do have partners as well that we source some supplies from, but we do manufacture the gun here in Dallas, Texas.
Cool. And that's important. People, we're getting guns from all over the place these days, but a lot of people really want an American-made product. So that's good to hear. And one thing that I noticed, and I really didn't notice it until later, even after we were shooting, but if you'll look on the bottom of the mags, there's an American flag emblem on there. So I kind of like that little nice touch. But tell you what, let's get into the nuts and bolts of this thing, because here's another question I think people might have. Why does the world need another polymer striker fired gun? And
it's a great question.
I think when you look at the feature set on this, and I'll let you guys get into the details of it, you'll know why. I don't think there can be enough of anything in the firearms world when it comes to choice and letting people find what they like and what fits them. So how about walking us through the details of the guns themselves and why Rost Martin exists with this platform when there's so much of it already out there?
Yeah, I think that really what you find when you pick up and shoot our gun is it's kind of a mixture of a bunch of different guns, right? It's, some people say, oh, I thought this would feel like a Glock, or I thought it would feel like a SIG or a CZ. And they kind of tend to take all the aspects of that. And that's kind of what we thought of as well when we were going through this gun. The gun started off as a previous model gun, and we kind of remanufactured it and created what it is today. And so what we tried to really focus on is creating a gun that when you pick it up, the ergonomics fit for any type of shooter. So we do include three adjustable back straps with the gun. So kind of just going through the different features. I'll start from rear to front and then kind of just talk about the benefits, and then I'll pass it over to Eric to just kind of talk about his different shooting thoughts and preferences on it as well. So as I stated before, it's got 3 adjustable back straps. It's got an XDM sight footprint. So we knew it's important for people to be able to put night sights or any aftermarket sights available immediately out of the box. We ship it with one metal RMR optic plate. This is a Vortex sight on here, so I have this intentionally to show that we have all the other plates as well on our site for sale as well. We have top anti-glare slide serrations, so something that you'd normally see on a more of a custom, more kind of a racier gun. We have really nice side slide serrations, so a little hard to show, but with easy press checks. It's obviously a concealed carry gun, so I carry it every day. It's super easy to press check. It's got a 3-slot pick rail, so you can run any of the most popular lights you want. And then here's some of the kind of the details we really concentrated on. We have an extended trigger guard, so for those that are going to be shooting in any sort of cold weather, you're never going to find any sort of glove snag, anything like that. Right here, we have a nice beveled edge, so it allows the trigger finger to naturally find the trigger with a little bit more ease. And then really our stock trigger, it's got a really nice definable wall with a short reset. We're trying to keep our trigger pull around 5 pounds or less out of the box. And then additionally, all of our guns come fully ambi. So the gun ships, I think Kevin mentioned it earlier, with a 15-round and a 17-round magazine. We've stated it, but it really kind of having as many features as we can right out of the box. So whether you're a new gun owner, whether you've been running guns for, this is your 100th gun or your 100th handgun, whatever it might be. This is a gun that you'd be proud to have, proud to hold, and kind of, trust your life with it. So I'll give it over to Eric if he wants to just talk about his shooting impressions.
Yeah. All those, I was impressed by the features, lots of features, which obviously those are pretty amazing. And that's really not what even drew me to it. I always judge a gun by how it shoots. And the fact that the way it shoots and all of those features, and that it's made in America. And as Chris said, then you talk about the price. It's kind of like, wow, that's pretty impressive. I really like how it shoots. Super reliable. I've got thousands of rounds through mine. Like any good Navy SEAL, I haven't cleaned it yet. And I found it to be very accurate. The stock trigger is just really, really awesome. And I like the iron sights it came with. I don't have an optic on mine yet. I'm just still running it as is, and just haven't gotten it to fail yet, which is something I've tried to do. Seems to do well with every kind of ammo I feed it. And I think the first time I took it out of the box, and I was on an outdoor gun range that had steel plates, head plate size plates, and I was just a little bit past 20 yards and took the thing out of the box, and I was just pretty reliably knocking over the head plates that it was just shy of 25 yards. And I was like, wow, this thing, it is pretty accurate, relative to, what you have to pay to get it. And just been very good with I like the way it feels. I like the ergonomics a lot. Obviously the accuracy is important, and the reliability. So been carrying it as well. And I've just been super impressed so far.
Well, Eric, you brought up a good point. Like if I was to give you a tour of my handguns, I would say, okay, that one is really nice, really expensive. Yep. This one is really, really pretty. That one carries the best. But then I'm going to point at one and say, but I shoot that one the best. That's what matters to me personally. Yep. Is how well do you shoot a gun? And this one just seems really easy to shoot accurately. And you mentioned you run it with the stock sights, and I do want to mention, like that rear sight is serrated, that U-notch is a black serrated, and it's just really easy to pick up and get really quick sight alignment. Chris, you're talking about the ambidextrous features. You'll notice a lot of guns will say, okay, well, this is reversible if you want to, for a left-hand shooter, or you can swap this and make it that. But this comes that way already. So the mag release is already ambidextrous, working on both sides, as well as the slide lock. But if you look at this, little features, and a lot of people are doing this, where you've got a stippled portion up here for an index point for your trigger finger, but that's already on the other side as well. So this truly is ambidextrous. And Eric, you talk about the shootability, and like I say, that's something that is always important to me. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care how pretty it is. How does it shoot, and how does it feel when you're shooting it? And if it's comfortable and natural, there's a winning gun as far as I'm concerned. Another detail, I've taken some training classes where they talk about stripping the mags, and instead of just dropping it, you actually want to grab it and strip it. And I looked at the gun I was training with, and it didn't have this feature. And my instructor said, well, you can get different base plates that have that, but these mags already have that indentation on both sides. So when you grab them, you can strip them easily. It's just little things all added up, just make it a really rich feature set. I'm just really impressed by that.
Thank you, sir. That's, just there were so many times where, we thought we had it, and then it was, well, maybe think about this, or maybe think about this. And, there comes a time when you have to say, all right, this is where we have to go forward. But I think that our patience in taking different perspectives, of high level shooters, people who are just picking up the gun, in the development of this was very important and proved critical in kind of creating the final product.
But, we talk about that, wealth of features in this gun for that price at MSRP of $459, which street price obviously is going to be lower than that. But I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, Chris, but there's also that section of Picatinny up front. You look at the serrations, you look at the stippling, the ambidextrous nature of it, an excellent trigger, which I think anybody will tell you is important. You're just getting a lot of gun for the money there, and I'm really impressed by that.
Yeah, that's kind of, and I think you asked earlier, kind of thinking, where and how do we kind of get into this market of sea of black polymer pistols, right? And each pistol has its set of features, and it's kind of how do we create our own market share in this kind of already crowded market. And I think really the answer was pack a feature full of pistols, make it here in the States, and make it really competitive. I don't want to be considered as a any sort of budget pistol. I think we would go up against any pistol that's out there right now. So I think that our pricing and kind of our positioning allows us to kind of go head to head with some of the people that are occupying that space right now.
And I think I don't know. I think some other guns are trying to do this too now, but I don't know if it was mentioned. You can take it apart without having to squeeze the trigger, which is awesome. From a safety perspective. Of course, I'm always going to clear and safe a gun like 2 or 3 times before I take it apart. But you do, you hear stories like people taking down a gun and in the process squeezing a trigger or whatever. So,
yeah, that's a great point, Eric. And I think also, there will be a lot of, and as we've seen over the past couple of years, there are a lot of new shooters getting into the industry, and obviously we want to preach to them the importance of firearm safety, but like, as you said, people make mistakes and people aren't thinking about it. So just having that added level of safety of someone being able to, disassemble our gun and clean it without having to pull the trigger, I think is just another thing. One thing I also forgot to mention is the gun is a lifetime warranty as well. So, where the gun's coming, where it's coming out of. If we have people that call us for just questions and just want to talk about the gun, and they're super happy to just even talk to someone on the phone and not have to, put themselves into a customer queue. So customer service for us at Rost Martin, we try and put at the absolute forefront and make sure that we're dealing with anything and talking to people as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think that's super important. Davidson's, as you guys know, for the longest time, we have had a lifetime warranty on every firearm that goes out the door. So when we find companies that feel the same way, that makes a good fit as a partnership between distributor and manufacturer. And that set of details, I keep going back to it. For instance, the front of the slide here is beveled, which helps, reholstering or carrying. It's not, I don't want to say it's a full melt job, but the top sides of the slide are beveled. The front of that is beveled. The rear of it is beveled. It's just well thought out, physically speaking. And to have 3 options right off the bat as far as colorways, you get the black, you got the gray, you got the flat dark earth. Talk to me a little bit about the optics mounting. How many options do you have there? How many fits or plates?
So we ship the gun with one Metal RMR optic plate, and we've got the Doctor footprint, we've got the Shield, and we have the Louisville Delta Point Pro on our site for sale as well. And so what we wanted to do is we looked at the market and kind of looked at what plates most people were shooting and kind of offer that right out of the box. And then we didn't want to make it so that plates were too hard or too expensive, because the last thing someone wants to do is buy a gun and say, hey, I want to run a different optic than the plate I was supplied, but I have to go pay $85 for a plate on their site. So that's not what we want to do. So we have really competitive pricing. So if there is a specific optic that you want to run, you can go to our website and we'll sell you the plate. So
yeah, that's perfect. I know when we were out at Gunsite, we were running several different optics on the gun. So right off the bat, you've got a lot of choices in optic mounting, or like Eric says, you don't have to mount a red dot at all. The sights are extremely usable, but the cut is already there. You already get the one plate with it. Other plates are available, and the plates that you guys decided to have cover so many different options. So like you said, you were kind of shooting for what is the most popular dots people are using, and we can get you the option to mount it. So that's a nice touch. Tell you what, I think we're about to wrap it up. I just want to talk just a little bit about the spec. So you're looking at a 4-inch barrel, comes with both a 15 round flush fit mag, and then the extended round is the extended mag is 17 round. Everything's ambidextrous as far as your controls are concerned. You do get both mags, 3 colorways, a lot of gun for the money, and the proof is in the shooting. So if you can go rent one or just get one in your hand and see how it feels, I think you're going to be surprised. Something I love to do to my guests is put them on the spot at the end of the video. So this is no exception. I appreciate you guys being here today, but if you're sitting in front of hundreds of our customers and hundreds of our dealers, which you virtually are, what's kind of a parting message to them from Rost Martin?
I'd say that you're going to pick up a Rost Martin and you're going to immediately feel quality. It's a gun that took a long time in development. It's a gun that's made here in Texas. You're never going to have to worry, is this gun going to shoot? Is it going to shoot accurately? It's been put through the paces. It's been put through hundreds of thousands of rounds of endurance testing. And, most importantly, what we believe here in Rost Martin is providing a quality experience, a gun that, you can always count on, and that we're also going to listen to different feedback from customers. Not saying that with every different iteration of a gun that we're going to have it be able to incorporate everyone's feedback, but as we continue to evolve and continue to put out new platforms, we're going to try and continue to put in different inputs that we think are going to make the gun better. So from here at Rost Martin, we're really excited to work with anyone. We're excited to continue to get this gun out. It's at starting to get out to a lot of ranges. There's a lot of great feedback on the gun. Here at Rost Martin, we're committed to quality. So I'll let Eric take it from here.
Sort of hard to beat that. I would say, even though the price is so great, ignore the price. Just pick it up, see how it feels, and then shoot it. And then consider the price. You'll be like, wow, like how do I get all that for this price? I don't even, price for me as a kind of a gun nerd is like the last thing I think about when I'm buying a gun. But you get a lot for the money on this gun. So pick it up and shoot it is probably the 2 things I would say.
Yeah. And a couple last parting shots too is for everyone that is concerned about different mag capacities as well. We do have 10 round options that we're shipping. We'll have 10 round magazines for sale on our website starting next month. We're introducing a new colorway, an OD green colorway, next month as well. And then lastly, we've submitted for the California roster. So we're really hoping that, in the next couple of weeks, we hear some good news from them and we get added to that roster, because we know there's a lot of good people in California that want great quality firearms, and so we want to make sure that they have access to it as well. So
yeah, that's very cool to hear. A new colorway already, as well as getting on that California roster, is going to help tremendously. And it's nice to hear that you're still working, you're still listening to consumers. You're not just putting a product out there and sitting back and saying, okay, we're done.
Right.
So I'm excited to see what comes next, because this pistol, when we first got it, I'll be honest with you, I'm like, why do we need another one? but you get it in your hands, and you look at all those features we've talked about today. And most importantly, you go shoot that gun and you go, okay, I know why now. And
Right.
then you look at that price and you're like, oh, I double know why now, because not everybody has $700, $800, $900 for a self-defense pistol, but at the same time, you don't want a piece of junk at $200 or $300. So I think this fits in a really nice spot, and you guys have done a really good job with it. I'm impressed with it, and I can't wait to see what comes out next.
Thank you, sir. Thank you again for having us. We enjoyed it.
Yes, sir. To both of you, Eric and Chris, thanks for joining us today to do this video. I know you're both really busy, and thanks so much for coming out to Prescott and shooting with us out at Gunsite Academy. It was a blast. I learned a lot, and hopefully we can show people watching this video why we're excited about this gun. So thanks, guys. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.